So, the PS Vita is going away for a while, at least for the foreseeable future. Hey everybody, it's Ragdolls. Welcome to another gaming news video, and today I'm going to talk about the PS Vita and some important news that has come to my attention about the future of handheld gaming for Sony. So let's go ahead and get started. So, the PS Vita is basically the... man, how do you say that? Is it the successor? It's the upgraded version of a PlayStation Portable. It came out kind of at the end of PS3's run and a little bit around PS4, and the idea was that you could kind of like tie in gaming and a handheld into your PS4 at the same time. And it was a really cool concept. It was actually something I really wanted, and I was really excited about when it first came out because it had the touchpad in the back, and it kind of utilized mobile gaming in a more console-oriented way, especially with the graphics being compared to some PS3 games. I mean, it's definitely like a downgraded PS3. That's something that you get with almost every handheld. You can never get something that's solidly the exact system that, you know, precedes it, like the, I don't know, the Game Boy and the original NES, or, you know, the Game Boy Advance and a Super Nintendo. I would say that they're comparable, but they're definitely not the same thing. But the PS Vita was a great piece of hardware, and unfortunately, it's just not been selling well enough. So Sony has recently talked about what their plans are for the future for mobile gaming, and it sounds like, or portable gaming, I guess, in that sense. It sounds like they really want to move towards more mobile, like cell phone mobile gaming. They have a whole section that they're dedicating to mobile gaming, especially for next year in 2018, with a few titles that are supposed to be launching. And unfortunately, that means that they are going to be discontinuing the PS Vita, and I don't think that they're discontinuing the model just yet. They're not going to stop production just yet. As far as I know, there wasn't any specified information on as to whether or not they're going to stop producing the PS Vita. But as far as I know, they're going to halt progress on anything that's considered portable gaming on their end. They see that portable gaming on, I guess, for Sony is a failure. I don't think that in the direct quote they meant that portable gaming isn't really a thing, but oftentimes it was kind of compared to the Switch in the interview, and I don't think that the PS Vita and the Switch are at all in any way the same thing, and I don't really think that anybody's really asked for that. I recently watched the No, and I also watched GameSpot's segment on the PS Vita, and I have to say, although the No is a great place to get news, I guess an idea for a story, it's also kind of, it's touch and go for me, and it honestly gets me a little pissed off because it seems like they kind of just throw out random information and random questions that are tied to each news story that I don't think anybody ever asked. And it seemed like a lot of their recent video about the PS Vita was centered around whether or not that Sony was going to pursue another console that was similar to the Switch, and that never, especially for me, seeing with all these systems that have come and gone over the years, that is the last thing I think Sony would ever do, especially with the failure of the PS Vita, which I was actually a little surprised about. They didn't really get a whole lot of third-party support. I don't see why anybody would ever anticipate that Sony would move towards a kind of hybrid cross-platform console, home console slash portable gaming system like the Switch is. The Switch seems like a very niche item. It's something that Nintendo pushes out for almost every system that they create. The Wii, the Wii U, the Nintendo GameCube, the N64, the NES, all of those were very unique systems. And look at the 3DS or the DS or any other portable system that Nintendo has put out in the past 10 years. These are all very unique systems that are all successful because of that. Because it's an original idea that Nintendo definitely exploits and uses to its fullest potential. And I don't think that Sony is that kind of platform. Sony is always, I think in my mind, is always going to be a home console type of gaming platform, much like Xbox is. It's been that way since the original PlayStation, and it's been that way for the past 3 generations, and I don't see them ever really moving into the portable segment ever again, especially after the Vita only sold 15 million units, where the 3DS has sold well over 30 million as far as I know. It just seems a little odd that they would ever even question whether or not they would ever pursue it again in the future. I think that maybe one day it's a possibility that Sony might reconsider the idea, but it's not something that's on the forefront of their current business model. I think that they want to keep expanding their systems and maybe come out with a more powerful system to compete with the Xbox One X, of course. I don't know if that's going to be in 2018. I think that we've all heard some hinted information, but as for mobile gaming, or not mobile gaming, but, you know, portable gaming and a portable gaming system on Sony's side, I think that this is probably the end of it for them. It's not something that's really been too profitable. The PSP in and of itself wasn't very profitable. They did get much more third-party support than the PS Vita ever did, but the PS Vita was by far a superior system, and even then, the hardware couldn't push numbers. It couldn't push models out the door. What people care about and what many gamers care about is a catalog. You have to have a really great library of games in order to draw in customers. And unfortunately, because of the lack of third-party support, the PS Vita was kind of destined to fail. And that's the unfortunate side of business, and that's the unfortunate side of the gaming industry, is you never know what it is that's really going to be as successful as the next. I think a lot of companies strive to do what Nintendo does, but Nintendo is a household name. That's literally what we used to call video games back when in the 90s when I was a kid, when I was like 8 to 12 years old. We used to ask any kid whether they had a Sega or a PlayStation or an N64, do you play Nintendo? Which really just meant, do you play video games? And because Sony will never really achieve that kind of moniker, they'll never really reach that height, we're not going to see every idea that they push out be a #1 hit. I think that the PlayStation 2 for them was kind of the biggest thing that will ever happen to Sony. Now the PS4 is selling amazingly. They're at like 60,000 units, probably, or 60 million units, which they're probably at more now, where the Xbox One is around like 30 million or 40 million now. I'm not really sure. It's been a few months since I last checked on the numbers, but it's outselling everything else, and the Switch is probably going to surpass that at some point. But we'll wait and see. And I think that the PS4 is carrying Sony by itself very well, and I think that in the future, now that Sony has kind of got the leg up on Xbox or Microsoft, I think that with their next iteration of another system, or even a more powerful system, it probably will carry over some of that momentum. And hopefully, in a perfect world for me, all these systems will be evenly placed. And I would love to think that Xbox or Microsoft is up there and on par with PS4, but I guess we wouldn't have proper competition to drive innovation. But I just thought it was so weird. I don't know what you guys think. You tell me down in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with you guys about whether you think that Sony should come out with another portable system or even a hybrid system like the Switch. I don't see how they're any way related. I just thought it was kind of interesting that the No would bring that subject up. I don't even know if anybody would pursue that. I know that there was information about Microsoft pursuing a possible model that was similar to what Switch was doing, but even then I don't think that I could really see it. I can't, because it's not tangible. I don't really think that I could see Microsoft or Sony ever going to like a hybrid portable system. I think that Microsoft really has something going with their Play Anywhere
I mean,
whatever you call that. I don't know what that would be considered, a system. I don't know. I think that that's really awesome that if you have Windows 10, you can play some Xbox One games on, you know, a PC or, you know, well, the Windows Phone, which is now discontinued. Go ahead. Sorry, my daughters. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday and Saturday for gaming news, and I will see you guys again on Saturday. Peace out.
It's picture time.
Where'd all your mothers?
Oh my God. Come
It's
on.
all that jazz. So, and so long, PS Vita. It sucks. It's a bummer. I was excited about it when it first came out, so it's kind of a bummer to see it fail, ultimately. Alrighty. Peace out.